Hi everybody, I'm back at the Cavers again today. Yeah, beautiful views from here, absolutely stunning. It's a wee bit windy, I'm sorry if it affects the audio. Where I'm stood now, Cavers house is about a mile, maybe a mile and a half in that direction behind the trees. And the hamlet of Cavers is in the trees. And that there, just there, where my finger is the Cavers kirk that's in use today. And that's Hawick in the distance there. And there's the old house there, roughly there. And there's Mental Hills there, and one of the Mental Hills is hidden behind the other one. And behind me, hidden by the trees, is Ruber's Law. Now, I want to go back in time to just after the last ice age. The land had been formed by the, I don't know what you'd call them, glaciers, the ice glaciers, being swept away. They swept away quite a bit of the landscape and left us with the hills that we've got today. And after that ice age, the trees started to grow, wild animals started to come in, boar, deer, wild bull, bears, wolves and other such animals, a lot of animals which we don't find in Scotland today. And also along with them came man, and man managed to get to these areas by travelling up the rivers and in very small boats. Now just there at the tree line is the River Teviot, which runs there and in through Hawick. Now, Stone Age man, when they arrived here, they headed for the hilltops, all out for safety. And if I jump forward a wee bit to Bronze Age, and around here, this area alone, and there's hundreds of them throughout Scotland. There's evidence, and not just Scotland but the whole of the UK, there's evidence of Bronze Age forts, you know. There's at least two there on the old ones. There's one on Ruber's Law, and there's at least three of them that I know of further in that direction, a wee bit away from Cavers itself. And I don't know, obviously, if I'm stood on what used to be a Bronze Age fort, but if we jump forward a wee bit further, there's a couple of the local farm owners around here believe, along with some other historians, believe the Picts were this far south. We all know about the Picts and the Romans and how the Picts managed to stop the Romans from conquering Scotland. Now where I'm stood now is, and it's evidence, it's been proven, is what is known as a temporary Roman fort. It's believed that this fort was used for changing horses, etc. Obviously it was guarded all the time. But yeah, if I jump forward some few centuries and bring us to the 1800s, in 1896 there was a Captain Anderson was visiting Midgard House, which was owned at that time by the Palmer Douglases. The last male Douglas having died, we've known only the women, and Captain Palmer Douglas agreed to take on the name Douglas, as well as his own last name. Well, like I said, Captain Anderson was up visiting Midgard and visiting Captain Palmer Douglas and his family, and he was out walking this day, and he came across a mound which had two bits sticking out the side of the woods, and the rest of it, the main part of the mound, was actually in the woods. Now, obviously these woods are gone today, it's all farmland. Those woods are here, or were here, in this field I'm just approaching now. Yeah, so Captain Anderson, he told Captain Palmer Douglas, and he came down and he investigated himself, and something unusual about this mound. It wasn't just a mound on its own, it had 4 prong bits sticking out of it, 2 of which were just about ending where the fence and the hedge is there. And I'll show you on the other side, you can still see some detail, no much, but you can still see some detail of the mounds that were there. Now, Captain Palmer Douglas decided it needed further investigation, so he called in what was then a very young Hawick Archaeological Society, and it was arranged for them to come out and dig. Now, if you want to Google in burial Cist at Cavers Hawick, you'll be able to find the papers on it from Hawick Archaeological Society. They came out here and they dug out what was the Cist. I'm not quite sure if they removed the trees or what. I would think they possibly would have to get such a detailed plan in the figures they have, in the drawing they have, sorry. But once it was all dug out, or the surroundings were all dug out, they learnt the shapes and sizes of it, which I'm not going to go into. You can have a look at that for yourself on Hawick Archaeological Society site. There was 2 horns that were almost like the shape of a goat, like its horns, and the other 2 bits sticking out were straight and at the opposite end, so they would have been down here somewhere. Surrounding the Cist, which was right in the middle of the mound, were skeletons of other human beings. And when the time came for the Cist to be opened, they took the slab off the top, and it was a completely stone slab Cist. You know, it was made, all sides were made with stone, and in it were a few jars with things in them, and a body. And the body had no hands and no feet, so they had been removed before burial, and they don't know why. Nobody knows why they were removed, and nobody knows the age of the Cist, so we don't know if it was Stone Age or Bronze Age. Okay folks, I've come over the other side of the hedge and at this other field here. Now you can see when I'm walking along here, got a raised bank in there. I'm not sure which one. Obviously there's a lot of rabbit burrows around. I'm not sure which one. I'm thinking this one would be would have been part of the burial cyst. But definitely this one. Now, if you remember, I said there was bones or other human beings that were surrounding the actual cyst within the mound. I'm not sure, obviously, if this is human or not. Yeah, I'm not sure if if this is human or not. It says me that walked straight past it. But here's evidence here of some sort of bones. Can you make that out? Now obviously I think it's not buried enough to have been part of that mound. But when I was told about it, the guy that told me he was impressed by it, and he thought it was part of the mound. But obviously I'm not going to go and howking it out and try to find out. I just know that it's sitting directly on or right next to, there's the mound there, just there, the nearest one, and the other one's back there in the nettles. One ancient burial cyst or site. So there we have it, folks. Another tiny wee bit of the history of cavers, and there's Ruber's Law in the foreground now. I'm on the other side of the trees. Anyway, I think I'll call it a day at this for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I thank you for watching. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, then please do so. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, and it helps my channel to grow. God knows I need the help. Tiny wee channel. Anyway, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks now.